Hey everybody, so I just wanted to do this quick vlog to give you guys the update. I don't know if I ever shared with this channel because I have two channels now. I got my Tips Vibe and I also got the Freedom Angel Tiff channel as well. So I don't know if I'm busy. I don't know if I uploaded to Tips Vibe or if it was the Freedom Angel channel, which actually now that I think about it, both kind of pertain to it. But my baby, she got sent to the urgent care the other day, okay, y'all? And basically, they say that she had RSV, but I kind of knew from that point forward that it actually was asthma, because a child or a baby that truly has RSV, um, basically has rapid breathing. You can see their ribs, going in and out because of the ongoing struggle to breathe, right? Okay, so there's that aspect of it. And then, they're nauseated, they're vomiting, they can't eat a lot like they used to. They got runny, stuffy nose. Pretty much just like anybody else, but for some reason or another, it's a little bit more deadly in babies than it is us. So, with that being said, they claimed that she had RSV, but I knew it was asthma because she don't got no boogery nose. She don't got none of that. Like, I spent literally only 2 days observing her, and within those 2 days, I saw the rapid breathing. I saw her struggling. It sounded like her chest was really congested. But that's about it. So in that moment, that's when I was like, okay, this is probably more like asthma because I know when I got my asthma attack, that's how it was with me. I felt like I had a lot of fluid in my chest and I just couldn't breathe. And so, RSV is more, you can see the boogers running out of their nose. They're really, really fussy, and all of that. So I kind of knew instantaneously that it was asthma. However, I wasn't expecting her to come down with asthma at all. Honestly, because of the fact that we have a family history of it, it kind of, when she was born, she was a healthy baby girl, like nothing wrong. And so, I didn't think anything of it at that time. I'm like, yeah, okay, she must be okay. Hold your vowel correct. And so, I didn't really think anything. The louder you are and the more rude you are, the more punished you're getting. And I'm not gonna tell any of you again. So, long story short, we got to the urgent care. I think it was like around 3 p.m. because my kid's dad doesn't get out until like 1 or 2 sometimes, depending on the situation they got going on at work. So basically, at the end of everything, we took her in, and immediately this rude nurse that checks people in was questioning me. She breached my HIPAA rights as well. And I plan to report her and get her in the system because she should not be doing crap like that. You guys think I'm playing, huh? And so, long story short, she broke these policies and laws, so she needs to be apprehended for it. You're not listening. I don't want to hear it. No, you're not listening. And so, on top of breaching our rights, she takes us to room 17, quiet, and, on top of all of that, she lays my daughter, knowing that she has already low oxygen, she lays my daughter flat on her back. Her oxygen actually got as low as 93. Now, keep in mind that they were aggravating her, and pissing her off knowingly, just to see what kind of response it's kind of like that reaction and, the thought process that goes behind that. And so, it took the rude nurse and 2 Filipino nurses to come into the room, look at my daughter. The one guy at some point, both of them actually walked out of the room and then came back and said, oh, your daughter needs to go to the emergency room. And I'm like, what the heck? thinking to myself, like, no. And so I'm like, my daughter's case is not that bad, to which she grants emergency room um, care, or however you want to see it. And so, enough, Emma. So at the end, basically, I saw what you did. Better not happen again. And so, basically, she basically was saying that I had to take my daughter by ambulance. I didn't have no alternative, no other motive. It didn't even matter that my husband was there parked in the parking lot, that she indefinitely had it to go by ambulance. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Go ahead and go get your charge nurse. Go get your doctor. Do what you need to do and find out. And so, Maki, if I hear it again, I'll take it away myself. And so, at the end of everything, the guy said, well, what hospital do you want to go to? And I told him, I said, well, I'd rather go to Sunrise, because I know that they are a credible hospital. I know that they are decent nurses and doctors out there that are actually reputable, and not like UMC. This is a bunch of clown people that don't have a clue what they're doing. They're a bunch of pre-med students who are clueless as to what's really going on. And I don't care if they're number one in the nation or not. And I got a whole other vlog, a whole other review to do for Southwest, and I got a whole other review to do for UMC. And believe me, it's going to get messy up in here, because I'm not happy with the crap that they did. Anyways, long story short, so at the end of everything, let it go. At the end of everything, my daughter stayed at the urgent care. They put her in IV. Let it go. They put her an IV in her hand. And I had already predisclosed to this nurse that the other lady was being really aggressive and almost to some kind of point abusive. And so, I'm like, I don't want her back here. Like, send her on her way. And so the other lady agreed. She went and got the Filipino gentleman that had already previously been working with me. These guys were amazing, to say the least. It's not easy putting an IV PICC line into an infant's body, much less, dealing with a baby. And, that's just, I guess, the reality of it all. My poor daughter did unfortunately require an IV. She still has the scarring on her hand. But I'm not going to do all that. You guys think I'm playing, huh? You guys can find out. And so, at the end of everything, the IV was in. Everything was fine and dandy. They did the IV medication. And, no, you're not acting. No. Nope. Mm-mm. Don't touch my stuff. Especially not behaving that way. And so, at the end of everything, she ended up not going to the emergency room. She didn't end up having to go be traumatized in the ambulance. I was just grateful that the doctor that we had decided to go ahead and put an IV. They gave her steroids to basically open up her lungs. And we spent almost 4 hours there waiting for the IV medication to be done. And after the fact, at the end of everything, the guy came in at some point. He was standing by the door for almost 15 minutes watching me breastfeed my daughter, which that in itself really disturbed me. Like, how it's annoying, like, when a mom is breastfeeding their child in a public place, even if it's the mall or Walmart or whatever. They actually do got nursing rooms there now, so there's no more problem there. But in some of these places, they don't have it. Anyways, that's the same kind of connotation to it. Like, he was literally standing there for 15 minutes, decided not to say, he's here or anything until after the fact. I was really, really bothered by that, y'all. Like, so immensely bothered by that. And, never mind that. But the rude nurse that was breaching our HIPAA rights, oh, dude, I had it to get out of there before I lost it. And I think my younger daughter seen that in my face. She knew that I was getting ready to flip out on this lady. And so I think for the well-being of my daughter who's not feeling well, and for our well-being so that I don't get in trouble, I just had a charge nurse take over, and I sent that nurse on her way. I do plan to report her, and that's just what it is. I just cannot believe, y'all, The audacity of this woman. But I'm glad that my baby got her IV. I'm glad that she's doing better. This is day 3 of her treatment, and she already sounds a lot better. So she still has a little bit of like buildup in her chest, but they gave me medication for that. However, that medicine that they gave my baby, it tastes really disgusting, so she does kind of have a little bit of a hard time having it. And then after that, she usually will go down to take a nap. And usually when she's asleep, that's when I try to do her asthma treatment. However, last night it proved to be a challenge because she wanted to stay awake. She was kind of like groggy, mopey, whatever you want to call it. And it just wasn't pop, lock, and dropping. You know what I mean? And so to struggle to give her the asthma treatment is one thing, but the trauma that this one nurse was trying to cause my daughter was just inexcusable. And please forgive me, y'all. I gotta use some coded language. And so at the end of our visit there, the one wonderful nurse who originally saved my daughter, went to go get the other nurse who removed the IV. Okay. At that point, that's when this other one came in and she's like, oh, we got to do a C word test and the F word test. And I'm like, no. You're not going to damage my baby's brain just because you're ignorant and willfully stupid, okay? Period. I said what I said, and I do not care who it offends, dude. Because I know a side of medicine y'all don't. And these people being willfully ignorant for their paycheck is stupid. And guess who's the one paying the consequences? It's our babies, because people don't want to get with the program. It's sad. It's really sad. But at the end, I sent that weirdo on her way. My daughter got her IV. She got the steroid through IV. She got, I believe, 5 ml of regular fluids because she was really dehydrated because all that she had been going through. And gosh, man, it's just been so tiring. I've literally been awake for like almost going on 4 days now. But you know what? I don't mind being awake if it means my baby being safe and okay. And I think that's a big mistake that a lot of these moms and dads make, is to not stay awake when their babies or kids are not feeling good. But maybe that's just also a personal thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to make sure that my baby's okay, period. All right? And so I was really upset because, first of all, I felt like it was a gross misdiagnosis, that it was RSV. My daughter did not have boogers coming out her nose. She wasn't experiencing diarrhea. Just last night when I gave her that raunchy, sorry, nasty excuse of medication, she did kind of vomit, but because you got to understand, a baby does not like the taste of these raunchy and nasty medicines. And so at the end of it, she did kind of vomit a little bit, but that was mostly due to the fact that, it's a nasty medicine. Any kid will go through that, dude. And there's no going around that. But eventually, I did do her asthma treatment. Her lungs opened a bit. And she's, I'm grateful that she's doing okay. God is good, man. And he's sufficient. I really do believe that. God receives his children. Understand that. And I know y'all have heard a dime a dozen times, don't mess with God's children. And that is exactly why, because it doesn't matter if they got a medical illness. It don't matter what they're facing in their life. He is always there in their presence regardless. And so my baby, by a grace of God, this is, like I said, day 3 of treatment. My oldest daughter and I woke up this morning, even though we didn't technically want to because we're exhausted, right? And we did her asthma treatment this morning, which today was a little bit rough because, no kid's going to want to get medication. That's just the reality of it all. But at the end of everything, she did get the asthma treatment, and pretty much she was crying the entire time, and it was to a point that her older sister kind of wanted to call it quits for the treatment, but I just couldn't do that, because if you start a treatment and you don't finish it, you'll be basically left with, essentially the same results as when you went in. And so, I just couldn't have that. And so thankfully, even though she was a bit fussy and crying here and there, we were able to successfully finish it. And she's just okay. It's made my regular schedule a little bit more hectic. I did put some educational stuff on the TV earlier this morning. We did it for like about 35 minutes. And then my two sons started getting out of hand. As you can hear, they're being really obnoxious right now. So they were getting exactly like the way they are now. So we had to conclude our day a bit early. But other than that, it's okay. I think I'll do some written work tomorrow so that way I can really concretely, make sure that they were paying attention to it. So, like I said, here she is. She's finally doing a little bit better, y'all. And if you guys have been one of the many who has been praying for Lulu, thank you guys so much. It really does mean the world to me because it was dreadful, really, going through that. Partly because they, like I said, they were breaching our civil rights. They were being really aggressive for no effing reason. And so at the end of everything, I believe I sent like 3 people out of our room. I stood up to them because you only achieve greatness through standing up for what is right. So I sent like 3 nurses on their way. I fired them before they could even be hired. I'm not going to have a doctor, pediatrician, or nurse or anything working for any of my children if they are going to be abusive like that. Period. And I don't care if it's Southwest. I don't give a damn hoo-ha if it's UMC, Sunrise, or indifferent. I don't care what your title is. If you're not professional and you're not loving and compassionate, you're out. And I don't care how bad your check reflects it. And that might make me sound like an asshole, but at least I'm defending my children, period. So at the end, I sent those 3 nurses on their way. My daughter got her IV, and she's stable now, so I'm grateful for that. I just got to continue the treatment, got to continue the asthma treatment. She only has a little bit of the medication to open up her lungs. So really it won't be long before she's done with that. It just has to be open enough for her to breathe, obviously. Another thing is that, that was, Emma, do you recall the day that it was when we went? That was 2 days ago, right? Oh, so we went on the 9th, right? And then the day that we get out, I go to the pharmacy because that's where they told me that they sent my prescriptions for my baby. So I went there thinking, I'm like, all right, we're going to get in and out and my baby's going to be back in business in no time. Well, I show up there and the girl that was working there that night told me, oh, come back at 4 p.m. and your baby's medicine should be ready by then. Well, I show up at that exact time and come to find out that her medicine was not ready at all. I had to come back at almost 10 o'clock last night. Dude, I was flaming hot Cheeto mad, okay? Flaming hot Cheeto mad. Not just any mad, flaming hot, all right? And then, on top of all that, the girl that was working the window, she was like, I'm not certain if you got to give it to your baby with food or without it, so let me go double check, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to let you know. So she went and did that sarcastically, mind you. Ezekiel, answer yourself. So don't interrupt me, okay? And so at the end of everything, basically she was just good for nothing. So I ended up feeding my baby before I gave her medication. And that is what it is. And thank God, after all that havoc of getting the IV, protecting my baby from the system, protecting them from these demented nurses, and all of that at Southwest. Thank God she's finally okay. Look, here she is. I'll show you guys one more time. As you can see, she's eating and she's okay. She's kind of drowsy because of the other medication I had to give her. But I mean, she's okay, so that's what's important. And please, like I said at the beginning of my vlog, disregard my obnoxious kids. They're just running around being kids, being goofy and whatever the heck else you want to call it. But I wanted to humbly say thank you to everybody who prayed for Lulu. And her and I are very, very grateful.